Greetings, Survivor. Since the release of Metro Awakening, I've read a variety of opinions on Steam, Quest from Let's Players, and in YouTube comments. There's no consensus on the outcome of Metro. Some people are thrilled calling Metro the game of the year. On the other hand, there are furious critics who have labelled the game a complete failure on all fronts. In short, it's pointless to draw a general conclusion or try to please everyone. No matter what I say, someone will strongly disagree. So, I'll share my honest thoughts and the emotions this game personally evoked in me. If you've dabbled even slightly in VR, you've likely heard about Vertigo Games. They've been making VR games for a long time and also act as a publisher. Their most well-known and successful game is Arizona Sunshine, released 8 years ago, back when debates raged online about whether to buy the Oculus Rift CV1 or the HTC Vive. Arizona is a straightforward shooter where the protagonist roams and shoots zombies. Don't expect a deep storyline or complex world interactions. To put it bluntly, it's an arcade shooter, but it's atmospheric and fun, especially in co-op mode. Vertigo Games deserves credit for trying to improve with each new release. After Arizona Sunshine, they developed another shooter, After the Fall, which focused more on co-op gameplay. While it had, and still has, plenty of bugs and no melee combat, it introduced improvements in firearms. Players could reload manually, or with a single button press, and the graphics were better than in the original Arizona, even including cutscenes, though only in the introduction. After the Fall felt like a more advanced Arizona, rather than a standalone masterpiece. Next came Arizona Sunshine 2, which introduced melee combat, a more complex story, and improved visuals. Zombies remained just as dumb, but the addition of an NPC dog was a nice touch. I knew what to expect from the game and it met my expectations, so I enjoyed it. Recently they released a remake of the original Arizona, which now feels almost like the second installment. You might think Vertigo only makes shooters, but they also developed a remake of The Seventh Guest, a puzzle game set in a mansion. I haven't played it, so I can't comment, but it has received positive reviews, even if it didn't gain widespread popularity. Metro Awakening became Vertigo's most ambitious project. On one hand, they're known for games like Arizona Sunshine, which isn't an insult, it's a good game. But at its core, it's a fun arcade shooter with zombies. Metro, however, needed to be a more meaningful experience. On the other hand, everything about Metro Awakening looks serious. 4A Games, the developers of the original series, shared their assets and expertise. Additionally, they effectively sidelined a solo developer of Paradox of Hope, politely asking him to remove his only project from Steam, just in case players preferred the solo developer's game to Metro. So, did Metro Awakening turn out to be a reskinned Arizona in a Metro 2033 setting, or is it something more? Before we dive into the main review, a small disclaimer. The footage you'll see has been brightened and stabilised. In reality, the game is very dark, and if we had recorded it as is, you wouldn't see much. Kudos to Vertigo Games for creating a user-friendly streaming tool. I hope all games adopt this approach. However, this mode has a drawback. Once we turned subtitles on for viewers, we couldn't turn them off. We tried to keep the review spoiler-free and blurred subtitles where necessary. Like many, I expected Metro Awakening to have top-tier graphics. When trailers and screenshots appeared online, everything looked stylish, beautiful, and promising. Before playing, I watched other bloggers' gameplay and couldn't understand why people were criticising the visuals. It looked great to me, but once I put on the headset, I understood. I imagine the conversation at Vertigo's meeting went like this. Let's design the game primarily for Quest and just add lighting and resolution tweaks for PC. The bosses likely thought it was a great idea. If the game had only released on Quest, I would say it looks impressive for a standalone device. But since there's a PC version, I expected more than blurry textures and clunky visuals. I couldn't max out the graphics on my PC. Despite high settings, the game was blurry and I wanted to boost the resolution further. Doing so, however, caused my PC to lag. Disabling anti-aliasing helped reduce the blur, but then jagged edges became noticeable. My PC, equipped with a 4070 Super, isn't weak, so I can't imagine how the game performs on less powerful systems. We also downloaded the Quest version to test our theory, and indeed the difference between PC and Quest 3 is minimal. On Quest, there's no fog, simpler lighting and longer load times. However, the rendering resolution is significantly lower, and the entire image is plagued with jagged edges. I'm not overly focused on graphics, but the visuals of both the standalone and PC versions were disappointing, likely due to high expectations for the project. Okay, a game can be visually unimpressive but still engaging. The gameplay can be summed up in one word: suffocating. During the first 2 to 3 hours, when a game should be hooking you, it's most tempting to quit. When Serdar embarked on his quest for medicine for his wife, I thought I'd die of boredom. The game feels artificially stretched. In the introduction, you mostly wander through corridors and turn valves. This monotonous routine is only broken by the appearance of monsters. Initially, cranking the flashlight is amusing, but after doing it once, twice, and then repeatedly, it becomes tedious. About 3 hours in, just as I was ready to quit, Metro unexpectedly places the protagonist in a cage, briefly piquing my interest. Serdar acquires a crossbow, and locations feature hostile humans alongside monsters, adding some action. Occasionally, there are horror elements, with tense moments in total darkness, weak flashlight in hand, and ominous music as you wait for a monster to attack. But this interest lasts for about an hour, then it's back to monotonous corridors. Watching someone else's gameplay won't help you distinguish locations. They all look the same. Even Arizona was more engaging, mainly because it offered varied locations, so you didn't get tired of repetitive corridors. The game could have been condensed into 5 hours for a much better experience. It took us 14 hours on Steam, but it seems possible to finish faster. A blogger mentioned that Metro was supposed to include trading, weapon upgrades, gas mask damage, and notes, but this content was cut. I couldn't verify this information online. Metro Awakening features 4 enemy types: Kikimoras, ghouls, spiders, and humans. The first 2 are straightforward, typical monsters to shoot like zombies. Kikimoras are faster, retreating to their burrows and attacking unexpectedly, while ghouls are larger and tougher. Spiders appear less frequently. Small ones are annoying, crawling on your body and disabling your hands until you shake them off. Larger spiders are quick and aim to jump on your head, causing damage. Unlike in the Flat series, they don't seem to fear light in Awakening. Shining a flashlight on them triggers a burning animation, but no real effect. They're creepy creatures that gave me chills every time. Human enemies can be rushed or avoided with stealth. Completing the game without killing anyone earns you a Hippocratic Oath achievement. Stealth areas have alternative routes and a knockout mechanic. Sneak up behind an enemy and punch them in the head. However, stealth has issues. The motion to knock someone out, pulling your arm back and clenching your fist, also draws your gun, causing accidental shots that alert enemies. AI isn't particularly bright. Enemies have limited vision and won't see you if you're close, but slightly to the side. They only react to thrown bottles if they break within about 3 meters, but if spotted, they deal significant damage, even on easy difficulty. They hide behind cover reasonably well, though their movement logic is basic. During aggressive play, you can take a strategic position and pick them off methodically. I don't have many comments on the shooting mechanics. Unlike Arizona, this isn't just an arcade shooter. Enemy behavior is slightly more complex and firing weapons feels solid, even if not ultra-realistic. Ammo and grenades are strictly limited, so you won't end the game with a stockpile. After heavy combat, you'll always feel short on supplies, which adds some challenge. Each new weapon sparked genuine curiosity. While pistols and AKs are familiar, the crossbow and airgun were intriguing to use and reload. However, I didn't understand the point of introducing the dart gun, as the weakest weapon at the end of the game. I believe players should receive a powerful reward for enduring endless corridors. The pistol model, being hollow inside, is embarrassing. We found a few sloppy details like this in Metro, such as visible gaps in objects. I want to commend the interaction design with the protagonist. The interface is entirely diegetic. I expected something like Arizona, where grenades and food are stored in your wrist, or simple one-button interactions. But Vertigo avoided this. In my opinion, the interactions feel realistic and engaging. I felt completely immersed as the protagonist. Apart from a backpack and watch, there's no HUD. Ammo isn't displayed numerically. You check your magazine to see how much is left. Supplies are tracked on a note attached to your backpack, as if Sirdar keeps personal records. The watch can either show gas mask time or the current time, and includes a light indicator showing whether you're in shadow or light. This mechanic, borrowed from the Flat series, fits perfectly in VR. Gas masks must be cleaned manually, and reloading and filter changes are fully interactive. I have no complaints, it's impressive. I disagree with criticisms about unclear level design. Progression is linear, and it's almost always obvious where to go. Any confusion is quickly resolved, often within 2 minutes. If needed, the backpack has a compass, or you can use a lighter to check the flame's direction, indicating the correct path. The exception is a frustrating spider maze. If you don't immediately understand how to navigate it, the protagonist starts offering hints aloud. Even with the mechanics figured out, it's easy to get lost. One major flaw in Metro is the lack of height adjustment settings. My height occasionally reset, making Sirdar a dwarf or giant after removing the headset. The only fix is restarting from a checkpoint. This oversight is puzzling, given that height calibration existed in their previous games. Surprisingly, Metro had very few bugs. The gas mask glitched once and wouldn't clean, but this only happened once in 14 hours. Everything else ran smoothly, apart from performance issues and freezes. My PC struggled, especially near the finale. Did Vertigo succeed in creating a VR Metro game? I'd say yes. They managed to capture the spirit of the original. Opinions may vary, but that's subjective. Some people raised questions about the NPCs' appearances.
Come, Sergei is waiting for us. Seriously, Serdar, who sleeps during the day?
First, it's 2024. Be glad they're all white and not discussing their orientations. Second, Russia is a multi-ethnic country. Even if Buryats and Yakuts weren't in the original games, their inclusion here doesn't bother me. Story-wise, Metro Awakening feels weak. While it references the original and fits into the broader Metro lore, the plot itself is lackluster. Hardcore fans might rage and call it non-canon fan fiction, but if Dmitry Glukovsky and 4A Games approved it, then it's canon, no matter how bad the story is. According to Sony and Gamarant, Glukovsky was involved in the script writing. The intro credits another writer, and both are listed in the credits. It's unclear if Glukovsky was just a consultant. Personally, I found the story disappointing. I didn't empathise with the protagonist or care about his goal. The character performances were well executed, with colourful personalities and decent acting. However, the dialogue was tedious and failed to engage me. I felt more invested in Arizona's protagonist and the mystery of the radio contact. The main goal of any game is to provide positive emotions. I repeatedly felt the urge to give Metro a second chance, but the overall experience felt like a chore. The motivation to quit was stronger than the desire to continue. Vertigo Games undoubtedly put in effort. The horror elements, scene direction, and character interactions impressed me. The atmosphere, the first interactive room, and the backpack, gas mask, and healing mechanics stood out. It didn't feel like an Arizona reskin. It's a new game. However, the visuals were disappointing and didn't meet expectations. While the shooting was enjoyable and thrilling, the gameplay, combined with repetitive corridors, felt suffocating. The script was dull and provided no motivation to keep playing. Even die-hard Metro 2033 fans might grow bored. It's unfortunate that Metro Awakening has great potential that remains unrealised. Performance and graphics can be patched, but the corridors and story can't be replaced. Compared to the broader VR industry and other VR games, Metro is a decent one-time project. However, Arizona is much easier to play and delivers more emotions. Either way, I recommend checking out Metro Awakening for yourself. Opinions differ, and forming your own is important. Judging by the reviews, some people genuinely enjoyed the game. That's all for now. Share your thoughts on the new Metro in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the future.